Hello everyone, this is Ghost of Gamers. I'm here live on day 4 of the Intel Extreme Masters, and I'm here with Tabzz, the mid laner for Millenium. So you guys just dropped out of the tournament, but you gave really good showings to CJ Frost. Did you expect to do so well against them? I know when I spoke to your manager, he said that was the one team you didn't want to face, but you guys held up really, really well.
Last night when we found out that we had to play against them, we were like, oh god, like we are fucked, so we're gonna lose really hard. And we this morning we went into the tournament with high spirits. We're like, oh, we're just gonna give a good show and try our best, and we actually ended up giving them like a run for their money. We did really well. Although we lost 0-2, we are still happy with our performance.
So when you guys found out about that you were going to be facing Frost first thing in the morning, did you guys do a lot of research, stay up, like, you know, did you get much sleep? I mean, you guys probably wanted to do a lot of research. I don't know if you expected to face Frost in this tournament, but I mean, you did pretty well. But how much did you like put research into the team before going into the match?
Well, yesterday when we found out that we were facing Frost, we did like a few hours of thinking and how to apply the strategies that we know, how to use them against Frost, and what bans and picks we would do. And that's like, maybe 2 or 3 hours of preparation went into that.
Now, for both matches, you were almost going pretty much even with Zubu Frost as mid laner the whole time. Now, did you ever expect to, like, you know, play on such a renowned, like, world level playing field? I mean, how confident have you been in your abilities? And, like, I don't know, did you just expect to do so well? I mean, how did it feel just facing off so well against one of the best mid laners in the world?
Well, for me, I'm very confident if I'm going into a game. Like, I don't see the enemy's name. Like, I don't care who I'm playing against. I always play the same. Like, it doesn't matter to me if I'm playing against Rapid Star, for example, or some random mid laner. I will play the same. Like, I'm always confident when I'm going into a game.
Now, during the picking and banning phase, what was your team's mentality going into the game? Because I know a lot of teams really, really fear Cloud Templar Shen, and you guys let it open both games. Is there any reason you did that? Like, did you think you could counter their split pushing strategy, or did you not really give it much thought?
Well, the thing is we only have 3 bans, so we had to ban out what we thought was the highest priority to ban out in their lineup, which in Shen we just couldn't ban it because we only had 3 bans.
Now, we've seen your Fizz throughout the event a couple of times, and I was wondering, even though you were very comfortable with him, and that is basically your favorite champion, is your team, like, happy with you playing him, or are they just kind of, like, stray away from that a little bit?
No, well, definitely when I give the call to pick Fizz, it's always, like, the last pick, and I know what their team's lineup is, and I can counter it with Fizz, and I will say to my team to pick it, and then they always know that I will do well. So it is definitely a pick that is situational, but very good if the situation allows for it.
Who's the main like role model and kind of leader for the group? Anybody who makes the calls and, you know, basically does the drafts, or is that something you guys kind of do as a team?
Yeah, we very much do it together. There's nobody who has the last saying in a call. Everyone just gives their opinion and does their best to give good calls.
Now, before you enter the tournament, who would you say, like, basically rank 1 through 4 would be entering the tournament? Because the tournament's had so many upset games, and I don't think a lot of people expected it. So my opinion certainly changed on who would make it through the group stage and who would make it so far. So, like, what's your opinions now, and what do you think your opinions were before the tournament started?
Well, I was definitely surprised to see Fnatic and EG drop out so quickly out of their groups. I thought that Gambit would do very well already, like, and they confirmed that. They went 5-0 in their group, and now they're playing the semifinals soon. And I would still say that Gambit is going to win the whole thing. I think that Frost is going to become second, and Blaze, I thought they would be third.
Besides Frost, is there any team you felt you were very ill prepared for? Like, is there any team you feared besides Frost entering this tournament?
Well, we are always very scared of M5 or Gambit Gaming because we just respect them a lot, and we think they are very good players and they're very hard to play against. And for the Korean teams, we never practiced against any Korean team, so we just go into it and we try to apply our strategies as best as possible. And yeah, that's basically it.
How big of an advantage do you guys think you have entering this tournament, since you don't have to really prepare for LCS and you didn't have the Super Week coming up? Do you think that was a big play into your performance, or do you just think that you've been practicing under the radar and a lot of teams didn't expect it? Or maybe it's a little bit of both?
Well, I do think that LCS actually gives teams an advantage because they get to practice against the top teams in Europe all the time. They get a lot of practice, and for us, we have to practice against the lower tier teams or like the teams when they don't have to play LCS. So we could have definitely gotten more practice if we were in LCS, in my opinion.
So do you think these LCS teams will be taking you guys into consideration a little bit more as scrim partners, maybe after seeing your performance here and how well you did and just how amazingly well you held up to Zubu Frost?
Well, yeah, I definitely think our reputation went up a notch because of this tournament, and we already like try to find as much scrim partners in the LCS as possible because we have to beat them to get into the LCS in the mid-season, of course.
So how confident are you now that you've done so well in this tournament to get into the LCS, and how confident were you before? Were you a little shaky on it before, since it's, you know, such a big deal, salary teams, and like, you know, pretty much everything revolves around the LCS now, but now you guys have pretty much smashed your way through the group stage and did quite well against Frost. So does that really affect your team morale? Like, are you guys a team that when you get the ball rolling, you really get the ball rolling and keep on, and you're very streaky after, you know, based on emotion and performance?
It's definitely like that. In the first LCS qualifier, we lost it because our team had a very bad day and the mindset was just completely off in these games. So we ended up not qualifying for LCS, which is very disappointing for us. And for the next LCS qualifier, of course, we're going to be more confident because we showed ourselves that we can do it and that we can beat the top teams and be a part of the top.
Awesome. So how are you guys feeling about your current lineup? I know recently you replaced your support with Fat Mama. Is there any issues within the roster, or are you guys actually quite comfortable as a team, like in and out of the game, and you guys are ready to roll with just this current 5 lineup you have?
Yeah, I think this lineup will stay for a while. Definitely, I don't think the problem lies in a single player in our team. I think the main reason we lose most of our games is because of bad calls and miscommunications. So if we're going to work on that, then this lineup will work great, I think.
Now, are you guys kind of like a more chillaxing team, or are you the kind that kind of grinds games out all day? I would like to know how much you guys practice like each day before a tournament, and maybe just regularly, and maybe how much of that goes into solo queue and like discussing replays and whatnot.
Well, I think we're more of a relaxed team, especially when we play like the ranked queue. We don't really take it that seriously. We just have fun, but when there's a big event coming up, we try to get a solid practice schedule going and find a lot of scrims because we really want to do well.
Yeah, that's interesting because the teams that seem to have overplayed seem to have already dropped out of the tournament, and you guys in a Nexus both have said that. I mean, you prepare for big tournaments, of course, but you're actually pretty chilled beforehand, and both of you guys made it through. So is this kind of like surprising? Do you think that maybe just grinding out games so much is a little bit overrated because of the burnout factor? Yeah,
I think if you grind a lot of games, it builds up a lot of stress in your mind, and that maybe allows you to like perform less, like in the tournament where you actually need to perform.
So what do you guys do in the case that you are burned out, like and you're forced to play? Like, how is that? Do you feel like you underperform when you do that? And is there ever a time where you're just like, no, we're not going to practice today, even though we're supposed to because we're so burned out? Like, is there a point in time where you actually feel that it's more detrimental to the team rather than beneficial to practice?
Yeah, definitely. For example, if one of our players really doesn't want to play or they're tired, we're not going to force him to play because that's only going to set bad mood for the team, and that's not going to be good for anyone.
Is there any other games you guys play together when you're kind of casually playing besides just League of Legends? Like, do you guys have any like games you kind of chillax and play instead of just League of Legends all the time? Because I know I talked to a few other teams about this, and like some of them just like play Xbox or something, just have a little bit of variety so they don't get so burnt out.
Oh well, for us, we used to play some Dungeon Defenders together or some other simple game like Tetris or for fun, but not really any big game or something. Just something to maybe de-stress a little bit.
How have you guys been enjoying the company of SidHD? I know you brought him along. Has he kind of helped make things a little bit brighter? Like, have you guys had a lot of fun bringing him along?
Well, he's a very good personal friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, and that's basically why he came along. Like, he likes to travel with me to big events and have fun here.
You guys ever consider using him as a substitute?
Probably not.
But his LeBlanc is so good. He gets so many kills every game.
He doesn't need to farm minions, he just farms champions.
That's the correct attitude. So is there any shout-outs to family, friends, or sponsors you might want to say before we close out this interview?
Oh, well, yeah, I definitely want to give a shout-out to my team for being awesome and sticking through the bad situations and the good situations together. And that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the interview. And guys, stay tuned. We'll be bringing you more live coverage. This has been Ghost Gamer signing out.